Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Quick heads up, podcast listeners. This June only, you can grab the MFR Coaches Legal Toolbox and website legal bundle together for just $299. That's a savings of $399 to legally protect your MFR practice and website with lawyer-drafted, customizable documents made just for you. Go to themfrcoach.com/toolbox before June 30th to get the deal. Welcome back to Tech That Heals on the MFR Coaches podcast, our three-part series where we're peeling back the curtain on what it really takes to build an MFR practice that supports you without burning you out. Today in episode 2, I'm back with Angie deBorja. Angie is an MFR therapist and tech systems expert, founder of Cultivate, Engage, Monetize, which is a business operations and automation platform built specifically for bodyworkers. We are going to walk you through what your practice can look and feel like after you've added just a few intentional tools to your practice. We'll talk about the difference between tech that complicates things and tech that simplifies your day. Angie will share her go-to tools, how they've shaped her client experience, and what changes when automation works for you and not against you. Whether you're tech shy or already tinkering with systems, this episode will give you practical ideas you can implement right now to feel more supported and less scattered. So welcome back, Angie. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you, Heather. Great to be here.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get going. We want people to walk away knowing, like a few tools that can simplify their entire day without losing that personal connection. And if we remember from last week, we really talked about personalizing your practice and how important it was for you to, like you call it, like being soft in your approach and not broy, because you wanted to have that really human connection. So can you talk about why tech doesn't have to be impersonal? And then I've got lots of other questions for you.
Yeah, if you just make it sound like how you speak to your clients, I think we think it sounds automated because a lot of how we interact with businesses sounds automated. It sounds like an automated text. And so I think that's what we're accustomed to. So I think maybe that's what we think how it's going to be.
Yeah.
But when you are able to make it your own and change it on the fly, it really can just be an extension of who you are as a therapist using technology. So it's not like you need to be techie. You just need to figure out how you can make yourself have better reach using technology.
Yeah. And I think too, like technology doesn't mean robotic, and there's so much space to personalize things to make it, like you said, your voice. So just because you're using a technology to help you doesn't mean it can't still be and feel like you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Especially it's like you really work to customize it and then you set it and you get to kind of forget it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's talk about a day in the life. Before automation, we can share both of our own experiences. This would be kind of fun. But before automation, what did a typical day look like for you in your business, and what's different now?
Well, if and when I had a person call or I had a conversation that led to an appointment, because not all my phone calls led to an appointment because I was still very shaky in my confidence and how to speak and listen and things. But my booking software would send intake forms and the reminders and things. But I may have had emails that go out, but they weren't my emails. They were like the templated emails from the program that I was in and things like that. I was basically kind of crossing fingers that they would show.
Yeah.
I was nervous when I greeted them. I was nervous and anxious about how they would respond to treatment. I was anxious and thinking about if I was saying the right things at the end of the session. And I was, anxious about how they were going to respond to my offer to help. So
Yeah.
that was my I was kind of coasting along at some level of that.
Yeah. Coasting along with anxiety, sign me up for that, right? Like, oh, it just like reminds me so much of how I felt at the beginning of my practice. I was switching from massage to MFR only. So that made me nervous. And I didn't have online book. I didn't really have any helper tech set up for a while. And I did feel extremely anxious about most of my interactions because I think it's like that anxiety comes from like the mental load of carrying all of this in your brain when you don't have systems. And we can all get away with it for a while, but after a while, it's just so exhausting. And I think this is where like overwhelm and burnout starts to happen like early on in practices that are trying to just do it all without any kind of help, mindset wise and automation wise. So there's like two ends of it too, but we're here for the purpose of talking about the tech and how it helps. So let's talk about people. I like to call it like a starter stack, or like what are some of the first technologies that you think people should have in place, like when they're just starting out? And I'll talk about kind of what I recommend too. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
You can go first. It's fine.
Thanks, Angie. Okay. So I have this in my book and I have it like, this is what I talk about too in foundations, is like making sure that you have, your website, which we could call is a piece of technology, and making sure you have online booking. And I think what I recommend to people so far is picking something that they can afford and picking something that they can operate themselves. And so there's a few systems out there that are pretty like low level lift, especially for like massage therapists. And if you belong to like AMTA or AMBP, you get discounts when you use Massage Book. So I'll just say that one as one of the techs. And that's kind of like an all-in-one system. And it sends emails. You can customize it to a certain degree. That's like a fail-safe technology that helps you with your online booking. So I would recommend that. I recommend having a website. I recommend owning your domain. And I think you should talk about this more later, but also having like a Google listing and all those things. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree with all of those. Online booking that's easy to manage, Google business profile that's optimized. And my end would be a way to efficiently communicate with your clients by email. That's not like just out of your Gmail email builder or inbox.
Oh yeah, like you're just sending it. Like people can't unsubscribe from it.
Yeah, something where it's a email autoresponder. You can schedule a campaign to send to several people, whether it's 2 or 20 or 100, and make it like a broadcast, and something where you can group who you want to send those emails to and things.
Because maybe you want to run a special like to just people that come all the time and not people that haven't been in a while, or maybe you want to send it to just people that haven't been in a while.
Yeah. So that would be my thing is just starting with some kind of email marketing software that allows you to do those things.
Do you recommend that people get, like if they're thinking about starting their website, is there something you recommend for like where they buy their domain?
Yes, you want to buy your domain from a place where you have control over where that domain points to. So, for example, if you get mymfrpractice.com, say you buy the domain there, but your website, you decide to move it from one website place like Squarespace, but maybe you go to another website builder. If you don't have control over your domain settings or your DNS records, which is domain name settings, you almost really makes it hard to change where that domain points to. And it can also make it very hard to like graduate into a business email where you are able to have that domain be used as your business email too. So a lot of places try to bundle the website, the domain, the email all in one place. But really, I would try to recommend getting a domain and a domain place. Choose a website for the website place. And then, it's a little bit, it just makes it easier, or like,
you have more control.
Personally, Wix and Thrive are quite challenging, but I'm learning how to work with them and around them, and it's doable. But that like I prefer Cloudflare as a domain provider. It integrates very well with automation softwares, and it's very good with security and site speed when you have your domain with them. And they're much more like very less expensive than the big names out there.
So do you just go to like cloudflare.com and then you just look to see if the domain name that you want is available?
Yep. You just a free account on Cloudflare and then just take a look at the prices, because historically they're a lot less, way more economical than the big names out there.
Okay. What are some of the big names out there so then people kind of know what we're talking about if they've never heard of Cloudflare and they can't like think about in their mind, like, what does this even mean? Because I know when I was buying mine, like I bought mine from Google, but now I feel like Squarespace owns my domain.
Right. It's hard because now things are buying other things. Like Weebly was a great website, now was bought by Square, but some people bought their domain from Weebly, but now they can't manage it because Square has it, but it's still with Weebly. And then GoDaddy is another one. Wix is another one. Namecheap. There are so many. HostGator, Bluehost. So if any of those sound familiar, this Cloudflare is just like another one of them. And each of the places that you buy one, they have different services that you can add on, like email or website or site security, site speed, things like that. So many domain providers like give you the control over that. It's sometimes like the bigger names that try to bundle everything into one place. And then when you try to separate one aspect of it, like your website, to go somewhere else, or you want to create your own email address for your business, it makes it with a marketing software, then it's like, oh no, you have to use their platform for marketing or their website only. You have to get a completely different domain if you want to use email somewhere else, so.
Because you want your email to be like, for me, for instance, it's like, I have a personal email, heather@themfrcoach.com. Drop me a line if you're bored. Or clientcare@themfrcoach.com. That's where you can send complaints, I guess. So, or show ideas, whatever. But it's so nice that I can have, and I can add anyone to that as I grow my business. Like I could add assistants or my co-coaches to that if we had a need for everybody to have at the MFR Coach.
Yeah.
And I bought that. I feel like I have like a whole Google profile around, or a Gmail, not Google. So is Gmail and Google the same thing?
Yes. Gmail is usually the personal, and Google Workspace is the business side.
Okay.
It's the same appearance of what you look at online.
So I think mine is through like Google Workspace.
Yes. Yeah.
But then I have like my website is somewhere else. And yeah, which is nice. I have that. And then my email is actually like sent through, like my campaign emails is sent through something completely.
Exactly.
And we've had to move it several times, right? Like
yes.
It's just like going back to like, you don't know what you don't know. And when you're first starting out, like you don't need some of these things. And the more robust your business gets and the more you want to be interacting with your clients, like you are going to move, like you're going to change technologies, and it's not a big deal. But I like how we're kind of telling people, hey, if you haven't gotten a domain yet, get it from cloudflare.com, because it's going to save you a lot of trouble later on when you grow your business.
Yes, absolutely.
Same with, I think like for websites, I would just say like, I recommend something like Squarespace because it's so easy to manually update. None of you should need to hire someone to go in and manage your website for you. It really is an expense that you don't need to be having. And even, I've had so many clients that have been able to update their websites and change it and change their pricing and change their links on the fly with no trouble at all. Squarespace. So I highly recommend that's where you go for your website. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Squarespace is a great place to start. It's straightforward and it offers a lot of things that you can use without going elsewhere aside from, the domain and stuff. I mean, you can get your domain.
You're not sponsored by Squarespace or Cloudflare. Like,
no,
we're just giving you our personal opinion.
Yeah, that's just my personal opinion and experience of what people seem to have the most smoothest time with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would you talk a little bit about Google Workspace and why it's important to have that?
Yeah. So when you have, so you're starting your business and then maybe you select a domain, and then at some point you want to be doing business from something other than mypractice@gmail.com. And you want to brand yourself as an established like professional practice, your business.
So instead of having like yahoo.com or like,
yes,
or even like ending in gmail.com is like less professional than like.
Yes. So imagine you're going to a business networking event or you're going to speak to physicians at an event or something. And, do you want your cards to say mypractice@gmail.com, or do you want to say Angie at centralmyofascialcenter.com or something? It just speaks to others on how you see your business. It's a professional and it's designed to help you, the customer, get results. And it's not going to be just kind of fly by night. I mean, that's kind of how I see any business really is like, wow, they have a Gmail address. And I don't mean to.
Or even better when it's Hotmail.
Yeah, or it's Hotmail. And I think it's fine when you're first starting out, but when you're trying to expand your visibility and your image and your reputation, you really want to do everything that's like easy and simple to do to make sure that you're being seen the way you want to be seen. Because it's not what you think you are, it's how people see you.
Yeah, it's how people perceive you.
Yes.
And I think it's also easier for people to remember, like, oh, I can just like get Angie at herbusiness.com or whatever it is. And the other thing is, same like going back to domains for a second. If you are using like the free website that you got through AMBP or whoever your insurance is, if you're a massage therapist, and I don't know if like PTs have that too, or OTs have that like through their organization.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's so hard to Google those URLs because it's like the business name at like AMBP and there's like a whole string of other characters. You can't put it on a business card.
It's long.
It's too long. So like buying your domain, and even like, I think you could probably redirect it to that page if you didn't want to buy a website or have a paid website, would even be better than not. And domains like cost like $20 a year.
Yeah.
They're not expensive. But that's another thing that I would recommend is like have it something very simple. Angie's MFR at angiesmfr.com, or whatever, angiesmfr.com. Something very simple that you can just say off the top of mind, and you don't have to open up something and be like, okay, it's XYW EQR 1_+sign, like that. People stopped listening 10 minutes ago and they're never coming. It's too hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. What else did you want to add about, like, did you have anything to say about the Google Workspace?
I think if you are a Google email user and you want to ramp up your business visibility, then go with a Google Workspace email or account, because it's just almost like having another Google Gmail account. It looks the same. It has a lot more capabilities too, though. I mean, you have a business, like a Google Drive, Google Sheets, like you have folders that you can just keep all of your ideas, your notes, projects, all within your like business bucket, So
yeah.
I use my workspace for everything that's deBorja physical therapy related. And then I have another one that's specifically for, online marketing type stuff. So as much as you can bucket and group where your stuff is so that you're not spending energy figuring out where what is and things. So, using folders and kind of deciding on naming conventions on anywhere you can for your clients or your content or your, the things that you use to educate people.
Yeah, it's so nice to have it in one spot.
Yeah, one umbrella, even if you don't have a perfect organization system, at least you know what drive to go to versus like, oh man, I have got 5 personal Gmail accounts. I'm not sure where that Google Note went to.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend trying to find out which Gmail account that Google Note was in or what spreadsheet was where? So
I may or may not have problems sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at that. I'm actually having an organizational expert come in to the next round of the mastermind just to help people organize their Google business drives. So that's going to be
good. Oh, wow. It's great.
So that's going to be fun. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to be doing it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taking all the invites.
Mine are like abyss of documents and
yeah, I have a lot of docs. I think I make like 10 docs a day and I'm like, oh, The thing I love though is like you can just searchable. So
Yes.
you can find anything in there. It's like if you're not organized. And I'm
Yeah.
kind of one of those people that has 100 tabs open. I like open tabs on my computer until my computer crashes, and then I'm like, okay.
I know.
Even the most unorganized people can be organized by using like a Google workspace.
Mm-hmm.
All that to say is that this will organize you enough that you will not go insane because you know where, you know, at least where to go to start searching for the things.
Mm-hmm. And so many applications with regards to platforms and softwares, they have that option to just say to, sign in with your Google. So it can be sign in with your Google Workspace, or it can be sign in with your personal Gmail. So it just minimizes the steps when you want to get something done when you're with a Google Workspace. That's I love the Google Workspace. So if you wanted to use Outlook, that's great. Or I think Zoho is another business email, but
never heard of that one.
Yeah, Zoho is a whole nother CRM software.
Okay.
Just like HubSpot and stuff. But
okay, good to know. I mean, it's so nice to know that there's so many options out there. I was also going to add that for password management, what I recommend is people start with a free LastPass account or something similar so that you don't have to try to keep all of your passwords in your brain, and you're going to need to change passwords. You're going to make accounts for things and forget that you ever had that account. But having LastPass has really saved me in my business. Again, not sponsored, just something that I recommend. But do you recommend any kind of password keeper? Do you use that in your business?
I use one that's it's not LastPass, but I should be. I have been using the Google Password Manager, and I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do or not, but it works really well for me, and I keep it updated. So I probably would be yelled at by somebody who has more experience in password management, but
well, I have to share my passwords a lot, like with my team for whatever various reasons. So that's why LastPass works so good for me, because I can share it without sharing the password.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can change it. Like if someone were to leave my team, I can change it quickly and like not be worried that people are into my stuff that shouldn't be into it.
Yeah. I think as I hire a team or kind of outsource certain things, I think it'll definitely come into play with regards to having other people do things for me. But
something to think about down the line. Like, as you grow. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about some of the like tiniest shifts that people can make that create the biggest wins. So can you think of an automation or a systems feature that surprised you in how it changed your stress level or how you've been able to use it for time management?
Yeah. One of the things that was amazing to me was what action you want to take that will trigger a whole sequence of events automatically at the frequency that you want and for the duration of time that you want. So, those kind of automations are possible, whether it's when a patient schedules an appointment on your software, or whether you add a tag to a contacts record in your database, your system. And basically you can just automate. I mean, if you had 30 days, 60 days, 120 days of email education and nurturing, you could just start that with adding a tag on a client and knowing that they're going to be supported for however long you've built out that workflow automation. And so that's what kind of excited me, that I could be building things out that I know I never can remember to talk about or address during sessions and stuff, because you never know how the session will go. So that's kind of what I built is just how to have a simple system to say, when I add this to this person's record, it triggers this whole sequence of events, and just have something like that for every step of their journey.
That's awesome. Some of the things like I've done in my business, which aren't necessarily like applicable, but I use a system called Airtable, and we've been able to track client results with it. And there's a lot of automations in it. So it can send emails, it can collect data, whatever, make charts, all this stuff for me. So one of the coolest things that I created using automations was the tracking system that we have in Foundations that tracks everybody's revenue weekly. And then we also are able to create private coaching responses through that. So it's just really cool that someone can fill out a form, Then it comes to us, it like everybody's individual client profile. We open it up. It gives us a little message like that this person needs coaching, and we're able to respond to it right in there. And then we can just click another button and we can see like what are the statistics of like how much money have people in this group made overall for the like since its existence in 2023. I think we're like just about to hit $7 million in client revenue, like from you guys submitting your reports. So that's a lot of money, right? Like earned by MFR. So that blows my mind. But that was like the biggest like surprise to me of like what technology can do if you're open to like deep dives into things, and tracking client results is really, really important to me. I think MFR therapists too, if there's a way you can track your client results. And I think how you said by just putting notes or adding tags of like what type of client they were, and how long it took for them to get results, all those things are really important for you to be able to talk to your next client that has that thing going on with them. And it's like proof of concept, like the thing that we're doing works. Here's the social proof. Here's the proof in these clients' results. So what would you say like your clients have noticed or commented on with the systems that you use? Like, do your clients, obviously they must like getting those emails or you wouldn't send them, but has anyone said like, hey, this has been my client experience from getting this email sequence? What do your clients say about it?
Well, I think a big one that comes to mind is that there's been several times when someone says, I almost canceled because I had a really crazy schedule, but I didn't because I knew I need to come in.
Yeah. Client retention.
So, and then I think they're overall knowing that things aren't going to happen overnight, because that's kind of part of my nurture series too. So, and I really think the receptiveness to my input is just way more positive than it was before I started using the automation. Their openness to my input onto where they are in their progress.
I love that. The thing is too, when you take the time to communicate with your clients in this way, it really positions you as an expert. Like even if you're not at quote unquote the expert level as a myofascial release therapist or whatever you want to call yourself, when you are taking the time to communicate this information and grow your body of work, like your intellectual property through these emails, clients look at you like you are the expert, you are the go-to person to solve the problem that they have. And even while they have a busy schedule, they're going to choose to stay in therapy because you are telling them why they need to. Very helpful.
I mean, email is just historically gives you $40 return on every dollar you spent if you were to invest in advertising. So it's a consistent and least expensive way to grow your business with $0 is if you were to spend money on advertising to get a customer, email marketing hands down brings you $38 to $40 return on every dollar spent. So
that's incredible.
When your email when it's engaging and lands and is story-based and just personable, then that's really the value in it.
Incredible. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your CRM does, or like what is this? We haven't really talked a lot about this product that you've created. Do you want to talk about it a little, like tease it a little bit, and then we'll pick up with it on our next episode?
Yeah, I was just determined to have something be extending what I'm wanting to help clients with in between visits, before visits, after visits, in between their courses of care. So essentially it's a nurturing system. So mainly email, some text, but mainly email for every stage of the client journey. So whether they're coming in for the first time, there's a sequence for that. Whether they only came once and never came back, there's a sequence for that. If they scheduled a visit series or package, there's a nurture sequence for that. If I add a holiday contact, then an MFR centric greeting goes out for every holiday of the year. Just anything you can think of. If it's been, you want to do a every 45 or 60 day hello on a loop, then you can do that. So something is always what can be working with you in the background all the time, and stop when appropriate to help if applicable, so that you can focus on just the people that are on your table.
Yeah, that's so nice. Again, you don't have to carry the mental load of like, did Susan get the email? Like, did we wish Susan a happy birthday if that's like important to you in your practice? Or like, did we tell Susan about this special that we have going on?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about whether or not this individual client got it. They came in, got this tag, and then the system took care of it for you because you've already set it up. And if clients don't like that, they can just opt out of it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But they'll still get their reminder emails and their like those.
Yes. Yeah.
Just so nice. Okay. Well, I hope everybody has taken away from this episode that streamlining your tech or having the right tech in place helps you take and give better care to your clients and to yourself. So tech can help you on both ends of the spectrum in your personal life because you're not having to carry that mental load, and in the client's experience, and it positions you as an expert. So tune in next week. Angie and I will be back to discuss these techie topics even further. So Angie, why don't you tell people who are listening like where they can find you and how they can maybe get on your wait list so they can be ready to hear more from you?
Yes. So you can join my waitlist for upcoming events and educational opportunities at cem.choiceexpmarketing.com/wait-list.
And we'll have all that information in the show notes as well. And you guys will be, if you're on my email list, you'll get an email with this information as well. Thanks so much for being here, Angie, and we'll see you next week, and we'll see everybody else back here next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making 6 figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.